optimal line in the sand, so to speak, in terms of what I've got to do movement-wise before I go and achieve my maximal strength. If I just go and pick it up cold, I probably won't get my maximum strength, plus I will probably damage myself. So what I want to do is a certain amount of warm-up to get the synovial fluid around all the joints, protecting it, almost like blowing up bubble wrap around the joints, protecting it, but also waking the muscle tissue up, so we're firing up all of the muscle synapses in terms of using the whole of the muscle tissue to generate maximum lift. In the beginning, you just flat out won't be able to use all of your muscle tissue. You may feel that you're giving everything. It's a bit like when you get a brand new balloon and you first blow it up, it sort of floods out, it expands fully. Now you're getting the whole of the balloon to the air, oxygen's reaching the whole of the balloon, you've got to wake it all up. If you just go straight in, you just won't be able to use all the muscle tissue involved. So I'm going to do a quick warm up with just the bar first. Then, knowing that I'm going to be pushing up to 97.5, which is all the way I've got here, so that's what I like to work with. I'm going to do and reach that on my 4th set. Okay. By that time there, I will have fully pumped up the muscle and the joints. The whole movement will be awake, warm, ready to go, to give it my best all-out effort. So I'm going to go warm up on the bar. It's all about feeling. I'm not doing a number. Forget a number. I'm not here to do maths class. Okay. I'm here to train the muscle tissue. Listen to your body. Feel yourself work. When I'm holding the bar, width on the bar is elbow span. So wherever my elbows span out to, I want to make sure that my arms are parallel with each other. And my angle of my arm to my body is 45 degrees, pushing away. Okay. So as I grab the bar, my eyes are underneath the bar. Start with. That's about right for me. Make sure it's central. And then before I lift it, think about my body. What does my body do? My knees, I want to pull my foot in, just behind my knee. Just in behind. Nice wide stance, because that's the only thing that's going to stop me falling off this bench when it gets hard and fighting. Good stability. Hold in just inside of my knees, and the importance of that is if it's outside and I start struggling and pushing my feet, I'll be inclined to extend. So I'll be on my toes and extending. I don't want that. I want to be pushing down into the ground. So if I pull it in inside, weight through my heels, then it's easier and harder to not do a hip lift. I'm basically bridging up. I want to make a straight line, strong, solid straight line between my knees and my shoulders. Here. You see a lot of people doing this ridiculous arching business. I can't even get my back to do that much because it's ridiculous. It's stupid. I'm not going to go into that too much, but it's ridiculous. It's not how you're going to be strongest. That's just a powerlifting thing to try and move as much weight from A to B without caring about whether it damages you or not. You want to be in a nice upright position with a solid spine, in a normal neutral spine position. Okay. The only points of contact should be my heels on each side, and then my shoulder blades laid flat. So shoulders pulled back, rolled down, shoulder blades laid down, shoulder blades laid flat on the bench. That's the only points of contact with the ground on the bench. The rest of this shouldn't be touching. As soon as you lift up here, you don't need to be way up here. Just as soon as you lift it up, you'll still feel contact, just like very lightly, but you're not resting all your weight onto it, which means all of this is taken away. Okay, look how nice and flat and straight that is. But I have this gap here, the normal, natural arch of my lower lumbar. And as I do that, I know I'm in the right position, because what happens is I will roll back slowly as my shoulder blades go flat. Okay? So, think, there we go, nice and tight. And this way, when I take the weight off the bar of the bench, I have full control. It's my feet that's stopping me from falling over, not luck and hope. So if you're not going to get that position and posture correct, then what's going to happen there is you run the risk of, if the weight's starting to go one way more than the other, because one side's stronger or weaker than the other, you don't get pulled with it. You have the strength to hold that structure nice and strong, nice and tight. Now before I do this, I'm going to warm up the shoulder, the rotator muscle group, okay, because this is the only thing that's going to keep that shoulder from breaking, from dislocating, from firing out, from damaging. So I'm going to go with something nice and light, 2.5 kilo. All I'm simply going to do is go with that rotation, external rotation of the arm. I like to keep it at a 45-degree angle because that's the angle I'm going to move in and just externally rotate and in, out, and in, out. So pretty much like I put my hands into my pockets and then just twist them out and back, twist. And you're doing this for a feeling it should burn. If it's not burning, you're not doing it right. This is not a heavy loaded thing. 2.5 kilo in my hands here, borderline too heavy for me. It shouldn't be heavy, it should be super light and it just fatigues out and burns in time. So out I go, pump. When it starts to really burn, that's when I know I'm ready and I'll move on to the press. This isn't going to tire your muscles out and get in the way of your performance. It's about increasing performance by making you have all of your joints and muscle groups involved able to operate at its maximum strength without damaging. It's starting to burn now. That'll do. Got some synovial pump fluid pumped into the joint around there, like bubble wrap going around, securing it nicely. So I'm going to go for my warm-up set. I'm going to do this quite quickly, so I want to fire up type 2 muscle fibres, and I just want to feel the pump and it burn. Position and posture, take the bar, get controlled, down to tap to the chest, and then up. Try and move it pretty fast. Always trying to hear that bar rattle so I know I'm being explosive, but pushing it down, pulling it down, pushing it up, push, pull, push, pump, push, pump, push, pump. So that's my first step towards being fully prepared and ready to lift heavy. So empty bar on its own is 20. I know I'm going up to around 100, 97.5, nearest damn it 100. So what I'm going to do here, I'll probably go so I've got 2 more warm-up sets to prepare me for lifting the heavy. If I just go straight to the heavy, if I can lift it physically, there's a possibility that I won't be able to lift it in the first 1 or 2 sets. It's too much of a dichotomy between not lifting any weight and then lifting as heavy as I possibly can. It's just too much of a shock, and quite often, giving too much, there's not enough nervous tissue woken up, you're not prepared, you're not ready. So if I step up towards it bit by bit, it's just like gently getting into a hot bath. If you just go straight in, it can really hurt, really burn, but you know if you just put a toe in and just slowly ease into that water, all of a sudden it's not so much of a shock and you can cope with it, and then it becomes lovely. Same sort of thing as this. So I'm going to go, so I've done 1, or 4, I've done 1. This I want to end up about 100, so I'll go probably a 60 and an 80, then I'll go for it. So 60 kilo to go. I feel like it's important to go over the breathing. The breathing, as I've said before, no matter what exercise you do, the hardest movement is when you breathe out. So when you are pushing that weight back off you, that's when you should be breathing out through the whole movement all the way. Now I can't stress it enough and promise you enough here, if it's not something you do or think about it, you will be stronger. You will not be able to power out your maximum strength without exhaling hard. You're not just breathing out, you are pushing out serious force. Now on the way down, depends on what point of tiredness, fatigue you're at. If you can breathe in on the way down and then out on the way up, great, perfect, lovely. I would go with that. When things get to be really hard, what I tend to do and I would suggest is just before you start bringing it down, you take a deep breath in, hold that for the duration of the downward movement. You are just waiting to feel that bar tap you on the chest, to be that sort of pressure release valve be hit. So it literally, I imagine like there's a pressure release valve button on my chest. Get that bar down to it, press that button and then start powering out that air all the way. So, and that helps an awful lot. It's almost like that sense of urgency you get from if you're underwater and holding your breath and you're running out of air and you want to get up as quick as you can and break the surface to breathe out again. Holding your breath on the way down, if you're starting to run out of air, and waiting for that point when you want to reach that point of bar touching chest. That sense of urgency builds naturally within you because you can't breathe out until you touch the chest. So it stops you taking too long over getting down. Control, sure, but get it down, okay? Don't take all day lowering that bar down.
It's like anything, the slower you go, the more you're going to fatigue, the harder it is. So deep breath in, hold, and as soon as it touches chest, breathe out hard. That's the breathing side of things. Uber important. The only thing that's keeping you moving is oxygen. Oxygen is the fuel for your muscle tissue. If you're not going to keep breathing, you're not going to keep fueling yourself, are you? If you have a nice full lung of oxygen, fuel, for every rep, then nothing's going to get in your way. If you're just going to hold your breath all the time, you're going to die off within 8 to 10 seconds, 8 to 12 seconds anywho, because that is the extent of your startup energy. Anaerobic power. Right, cracking on again.
Safety is always number one. I've got these safety bars, so I know the bar cannot fall on me. It can come down to touch. I only have to let it depress about a centimetre, then it'll be taken up there, so I'm not in any real danger. If I do go for it and I struggle and I can't make it, all I have to do is just ditch it forward a bit, be carried on that, and I'm safe. If you don't do this with some form of safety, you're a fool, or you're not even planning to train. You're just exercising and staying with your ability. If you're not trying to do something you can't do and risk failing, what are you there to do? You're not training, you're not pushing your boundaries, unless you're doing some specific type of strength training where you're just doing a set number of reps with a certain percentage of body weight. Fine, but we're not going to go into that just yet. As we go through the programs, I'll show you different styles and different ways and forms of doing, but ultimately you should always have an element of safety. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're making this an extreme sport. You like that adrenaline rush? That end. I've got Sarah to spot me if it needs be. I've got this, so I'm not bothered. So at some point, I will fail. That's what we're here to do. So we'll be using this, and you'll see how I go about that, and how I don't panic over it, because I'm expecting it. So 60 kilo. I'm not going to do an awful lot, because I just want this to introduce me to heavier weight, to wake me up, get me used to feeling it. So it's a big shock, not a big shock, but I don't want to tire myself out. Okay. So let's do 6. Now here I'm going a bit more controlled, smooth. As I start to come down near the end, the point at which I'm going to stop the weight, it's very important how I do that. If you're just going to slam it down and whack the brakes on it, bam, and stop it really quick, which is A, use your chest to stop it, so you're risking breaking your rib cage, or more importantly, you're going to rip the muscle tissue up and prematurely fatigue it out and risk damage, because this, let's say this plate here weighs 20 kilo, right? You go and lay it onto some scales gently, you'll see it weighs 20 kilo. You pick that same plate up and then throw it down on those scales and watch that dial as it momentarily shoots way past 20 kilo to maybe even 50% more, 30 odd kilo momentarily, as it boom, 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 boom. Because you've got the weight of it plus the force, momentum, inertia smashing into it. Difference between, say, you leaning against a door that's tight, struggling to push it open, not being able to, and taking a run up and bashing it in. It's you, your strength, plus the momentum. You don't want that momentum here, especially not when you're lifting your maximum weight. If you know you can only lift a certain amount, and then you drop it onto you, you're going to rip something off of the bone, rip muscle off of tendon off of bone. Something's going to damage. Don't do it. Slow, smooth control. You can power it up, sure. I want you to do that. You need to do that on the way up. Smooth control, come down, pause, hold the weight, feel the weight, deep breath in, ready, and just boom. You need to fire it up as fast and explosively and as aggressively as you can, because that's how you're going to generate force, power, okay, explosive nature. So here we go, 6 controlled reps. Above eye line. Nice, not too bad. Also thing to focus on when you're pushing it up is know when that's finished, know when to stop. Quite often you'll see a lot of people that be pushing it, overextending. So look how much room there is and the shoulders to shrug forward. Back and down, that's your bone situated nicely into the joint, okay, into the glenoid fossa here. You're going to let your shoulders push forward and stretch out. What you're doing is you're taking that and stretching it away from the joint. What's holding the security of this joint here? What's stopping it from damaging? It needs to be back here, sat down, nicely seated. Just simply pull the upper arm around so it's in front of you, arm straight, and stop. There's no need to keep pushing out. Your goal isn't to push that bar away from you as fast as you can, or far away as you can. It's to simply contract the pec and bring the arms in front of you. Bring your elbows towards each other. Smooth and in. Smooth and in. All the way through is my traps at the back are actually pulling in, are constantly tight, pulling the shoulder blades back and down and in, holding anchored. Like this. Okay, so I'm not just relaxed, I'm pulling it actively, squeezing shoulder blades together. Okay, 60 done, we're going to go to 80 now. Is the next step, stepping stone towards the actual weight that I want to do. So for this one, I just want to make my body feel the weight. To introduce it as a stepping stone, I'm just going to do 2. Down, up, that will do. And then the jump to the next weight is the same as going from 80 to 60, it's not too much of a shock. Easy couple of reps there. Put a lot of confidence into me. I feel like that went easier than I was fearing, so I feel quite confident about going for the 97.5 now. Irks me a little bit that I haven't got another 2.5 kilo here at home. 97.5. It's 100 kilo, but it's not, is it? Tisk. Might have to hang some stuff off it. Okay, so all out, this is what I'm going for now. It's the 97.5 kilo on there. Let's find out where I am at the moment. So starting this journey of how many reps I can do now physically. I feel like I am fully prepped now. Muscle tissues fully awake, ready to give it full beans, and everything's nice and warm. I feel like my rotator cuff's holding nice and strong as well. I don't feel any issues, any weakness there. I'm this is it. No excuses. Whatever point I fail at, that's where I am at the moment. So there we are, five and a fail. I think I'll have to watch back and count those reps. So there we go, 5 reps. Failed on 6, certainly tried. It was not for the lack of trying, so I know in my heart of hearts my physical ability right now is 5 reps. There's nothing I could do to do another rep, or certainly not double that. So the fact that it was 5, that's nice, let's double that. What this will be all about is to see if I can double my strength. Obviously it's not really double strength, doubling my strength endurance. There's absolutely no way I could do 6 reps there, so certainly not. I certainly couldn't double it. So how long will it take me, and what sort of training, how much training will I need to do to be able to double that and be able to do 10 reps and bust out a good confident 10 reps? That is what this little challenge will be about now. How much rest will I need between each set? Well, in the beginning, I'll tell you now, I'll need a bit more because, like I say, I've since deloading and recovering from last year's injury on my dizzying heights of 137.5, failing that 140, I haven't really trained to that. For that reason, I haven't really trained that hard for a good 4 months, so I'm 100% going to be doming my face off for the next few days, and that's going to hurt. I know I'm going to wake up tomorrow, it's going to be ouch central. So who knows? We'll find out. Maybe it will take me 5-6 days of recovering before I'm ready to go for that again and get the actual benefit out of that session I did then, to come back stronger and maybe push that 6th rep, or maybe just get the 5th and just get a little bit easier and then struggle the 6th and get so very close to getting the 6, but not quite close enough to get it. So it was a fail, but it's just about progressing, getting a little bit closer.
don't know. Make sure my training is as good as it can be. So I'm going to be doing all kinds of things like 5x5s. I won't explain too much now, you have to watch it and find out, but I'll do things like 5x5s, I'll do a lot of eccentrics, I'll do some speed work, some control stuff, a lot of holds, isometric work. Just basically damage it, rip it up, let it grow and repair. And the more I get into it, maybe by the time I'm sort of like 5th or 6th session into it, I should be repairing at a decent, I'll have my conditioning back. I think I'll be repairing in about 3 days. So I'll probably be doing a session, 2 days off, back to another session, 2 days off. I wonder how long it would take. I generally don't know. It's exciting, isn't it? Now we've got a bit of excitement in this quarantine. How long will it take for me to get 10 reps on 97.5 kilo when I can only do 5 now? Watch this space!